Hello, hello, hello. FIFA Club World Cup podcast, a global showdown with the Hooligan Soccer Boys coming at you. Whew, wow, Qooligan.
Oh, I'm still buzzing. I'm still buzzing, G.
That
was the most exciting 0-0 draw I think I've seen in a long time. That was phenomenal.
That was entertaining. That was really, really, really entertaining, phenomenal. I have to say. Yeah, so obviously we've just finished watching the opening inaugural game of the new reformatted FIFA Club World Cup.
Yes.
A lot to unpack, a lot to discuss. So we'll spend most of the time really just going through, obviously, that first game, obviously into Miami against Alhy. And then, of course, we'll just look into a few of the second day's games coming up tomorrow. But let's get into it. So,
I mean, first off, though, let's make sure everybody like, subscribe, follow, right? Come and join us on this insane ride.
What are we doing?
Which, started from, we'll get into it.
That's right, but yeah.
We're going to talk about the pregame show, too, because, ladies and gentlemen, the pregame can sometimes be just as important as the game itself. And I cannot think of anything that was two polar opposites of each other in terms of excitement and interestingness.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So let's get into it. So I think just, in the run up to this, there has been a lot of negative press about ticket sales, about, all sorts of political stuff going on as well. And again, it's the usual stuff, the usual story before a big major tournament. We obviously, on the hooligan soccer side of things, have believed that it's not going to be the case. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be electric. It's going to be amazing. And started off with the opening ceremony.
Which was the complete opposite of all those things.
What the fuck was that? Yeah, what was that?
Hell was that? And now, Gary and I have a bit of an experience with production, and both entertainment production, streaming media. This is not our first time around the block. And obviously all the camera people did their jobs, the singers did their jobs, the dancers did their jobs, but who in their right mind was in charge of putting in the lower third overlays to tell you just what the hell was going on? Because they failed. Yeah. I have not seen a fail on such a big event in a long time. I'm sitting there going, who are these people? What are they singing? What am I doing? Yeah. And nobody should ever have to do that. Right? Nobody should ever have to do that. And so I got to give a little bit of chin music to the producers on that one, because the good news is, I got a lot of games to fix it, but boy, that was not great looking. And I don't want to talk about the quality of the performances and the dances, because we all know that all that stuff is big and floofy and silly.
Noise. Yeah. It's just noise. Yeah.
But also they had a flyby. How in the hell do you have a flyby with only 2 fighter jets?
Well,
I mean, is this a part of Florida's budget saving? I have no idea what's going on here. Were they all up in Washington, D.C.? Who knows? I just am sitting there going, well, 2 jets?
FIFA have spunked the money on the purse money as well, so that's that could have been what it was.
And maybe it's all going to the clubs, which is the way it should be. So let's just go with that. Let's go with that.
Okay. So anyway, look, we'll give FIFA a pass on that one as well for the opening ceremony as well. Let's see what the closing ceremony, they've got time to make up for it as well.
They do.
So obviously here in the US, of course, and obviously if you're watching this on DAZN, YouTube, or obviously all the usual podcast channels as well, obviously we have this show distributed. I was surprised. It was the first time I've ever watched anything on DAZN in North America, and I have to say, production quality, it was okay. I didn't know who half the people were, not even half. I'd recognize Brad Guzan, that bald ex-goalkeeper.
Absolutely. Part of the Goalkeepers Union.
Yeah, yep. That was the only one I recognized. The rest of the guys and the commentators I didn't recognize, but look, that's irrelevant. Like, I think we're nitpicking. So a couple of just like, before we get into the game as well, a couple of interesting call outs as well that I noticed. Gianni Infantino, Mr. President of FIFA, he puts himself next to original Ronaldo, R9, and Roberto Baggio, 2 of the greats of the game as well. It's interesting. It's like when you have your dinner party at your house and you get to set who sits next to you as well, and he decided on those 2. And hey, I wouldn't mind sitting next to those 2 guys as well and speaking with them as well. It would have been entertaining. So yeah, that was good.
I mean, first off, Baggio probably should go the Infantino route. That hair was a disaster. And
he hasn't changed it since 1994 either, has he?
I rest my case. Mic drop.
He's still got the rat's tail. The rat's tail.
It's like there comes a time where you put aside those things, and so it goes. Yeah, but no, and there were people taking photos with him, and that's fine. I get all that. And but I saw him signing jerseys, and I'm like, you know what? It just left a bad taste in my mouth. He shouldn't be fronting that way. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
his gig. Now, if he was signing me $100 bill, I would happily take $100 bill from him with Infantino's signature on it. Don't get me wrong.
There we go. Oh,
But
anyway, yeah. Well, but anyway,
yeah,
so I thought that a couple of other, I think, just interesting notes that I saw as well. So first of all, there was also this talk about like ticket sales are going to be under 20,000, all the rest of it. It seemed like the stadium was mostly full, mostly full. I'm not going to say sold out slamming,
yeah.
but mostly full.
You will note that they were very careful in the opening ceremonies and whatnot. They had drone footage, they had aerial footage, they were doing a lot of wide stadium shots, and the stadium was not full. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Was it empty? No. I'm
No.
not going to say that it was. I'm not going to do it, but it was half to just over half full. I think they moved a lot of people,
I
and
heard they moved them down to the lower
and
tiers as
that's
well for
correct.
TV.
They
That's fine.
condensed a lot
Yeah.
of it, and hey, that's fine. That's crowd management. And all I can say is that from an atmospheric perspective, as a person watching it and listening, the crowds were involved. There was no silence.
They
People
were
were
loud.
in from the moment
Yeah.
the whistle blew
Yeah.
until the halftime, and they were vocal and they were involved. And ultimately, that's what you want. Here's the other thing I noticed. What color would you say that stadium was, Gary?
Well, I mean, red. It looked
That
like an
color
Al
was
Ahly.
red. Thank you.
It was
Thank
so
you.
great representation from the Al Ahly fans. I have to say,
100.
all
I
of
mean,
those guys traveled
spectacular.
or came obviously sort of locally as well, but
Yeah.
they showed up and they were loud. They
Yes.
were up for it, and the atmosphere looked electric. It looked really, really legit. So I was impressed by that. I have to say. The other thing that I really did like as well, which I may be a little gimmicky as well, and they're trialing out, was the ref cam. I really did like the ref cam. And you as a referee, I don't know if you maybe appreciate it or not, but it's just the other perspective. There's always been like games or sort of AI clips seen this or sort of adverts I've seen where they sort of have the ref cam as well. And you actually got to see it live. So when there was I think the second foul on Messi, when that guy, I can't remember who it was, but basically got the top of his knee, got him pretty badly, but
Yeah,
obviously,
he did.
obviously it did, got him. But to see it from the ref cam's perspective, that was a new angle. The next thing I just want to see is I want to hear a microphone. I just want to hear what's going on. That's the next frontier that we'll get to. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's
they're never
that's a
they're
different
not
topic.
they're not going to do the mic stuff because the mic is
Just,
used for inter-referee
yeah,
communication and with the
yeah,
VAR booth, and they
yeah,
can't have that go
yeah.
real
You can't
time.
live that.
You
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
have that live. But
yeah.
listen, I've worked in comms, all right? So I've worked the way the professional referees work with comm systems where you communicate to one another. But and that's bad enough. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you feel like a Borg
Mm-hmm.
out of Deep Space Nine, man,
Yeah,
and not nearly like the hot one. I'm not like the
yeah.
hot one in the Borg unit. I'm like the ugly, like warped Borg. And I've got wires coming out of my shirt and I've got like things on my arm and like this, that, and now I've got a cam. You want to put a cam on me? Oh
Extra stuff as well.
Lord.
Microphones, 2 watches, yeah,
Yeah.
all these things. It's a lot. It's a lot. But
This is
it
one
was
thing that I
interesting.
appreciated though, Gary. And I thought that this was and from a referee's perspective, what it will what it should do and what people hopefully will get away from it is just how hard it is in real time when you're moving like that in this fast-paced game to be able to see it, make the determination on what the intent and the angle and the action and the result is, and then make your call. And that's
Yeah,
happening in nanoseconds.
yeah,
And I loved the fact that they didn't slow it down. They showed it in real time with all of the blurs and the bounces because that's how we see it. We're moving around, we're spinning. The referees are athletes on the pitch, much like the players are. And their job is to not get in the way.
mm-hmm.
Right, and to be able and to be in the position where they can make the most appropriate call at any given time. And I liked that the cam offered that perspective, and I thought that
I
was
agree.
very cool. It's a bit gimmicky, you're right, but I'm not opposed to it. I think
It's
I just think it's a new way for people to appreciate it.
It's a new side of the game that, again, as the game evolves as well, they'll bring it in as well. You can see this is going to roll out across the MLS after this as well. There's always a trend after these FIFA tournaments as well. I remember years ago, do you remember FIFA sort of started putting the shaving gel in front of to sort of mark the 10 yards in the ball as well, and now it's a regular thing everywhere. So
goal line technology was the same way. Goal line technology was the exact same. Yep.
Exactly. So it's coming to us, coming to a league near us for sure in the not too distant future. Okay. So the game itself, as we said, 0-0. Okay. We'll sort of get into it. Entertaining, really entertaining, I have to say. Couple of like things that just mentioned as well. Messi, that last minute shaking up the corner routine and then trying to sort of whip it in and sort of stick it into the top corner as well. And then it got tipped onto the bar. I mean, you could see what he was doing, and the goalkeeper really did his job. That was incredible. It really was.
All things aside, this game came down to two players. It came down to Ustari. And it came down to the Egyptian goalkeeper who was, I've got the name, Mohamed El Shanawi.
El Shanawi, yes. Okay, again, goalkeepers seems to be the trend, as we're noticing. We've been talking about this. Goalkeepers are getting the accolades, right?
Yeah, Ustari definitely it saved him in the first half.
Yeah,
El Shanawi saved him in the second half, and that's not to take away from the attack. So El Ahly has a new coach. He was hired in March, and the reason for that was there was a widespread concern that El Ahly's very aggressive style of play had been dulled by their previous coach, and he was playing too defensive. They lost to Mamelodi in the CAF Champions League. They had very few shots on goal. I think they only scored 1 or 2 goals. Everybody's like, this isn't the way we play. This isn't us. And they got rid of him, and boy, did he deliver, because not only did he start with an aggressive front line, and they came out quick on the front foot. They had the first shot, right? They had the first serious attack of the 6th minute when that fantastic striker of theirs, was it
Trezeguet?
No, Abu Alhy.
Okay.
Trezeguet is another side. They work as a tandem because they play a 4-4-2. So Trezeguet plays on one side, Abu Alhy plays on the other. Now, Abu Alhy is a Palestinian, right? So he's a Palestinian national, and he was playing for Palestine in the Asia Cup and arrived in the United States on Thursday. It's Saturday. And so he had no time in between, came out, played a solid game. He was the first one to break lines. And I was highly concerned for Miami in the first half. It looked like Alhy had a way that they could carve through their lines, and they did so on multiple occasions.
They just couldn't score. They just couldn't score.
It was Ustari's, but it was also Ustari's amazing reactions and saves and good positioning that kept them in the game. Now, this was Alhy's game, and they're going to kick themselves that they lost, because they had the penalty, and Trezeguet overthought it, and that was a mistake. I don't want to take away, everybody's going to rat on him, but he had a great game.
He did very well. Yeah, he did very well. I agree. Look, I think it was Al Ahly should have probably been able to squeeze out as well. They had a couple, and even in the final minutes, and they had that last counter attack. It was 4-on-2, and I can't remember the player, but he ran through and he just shanked it and just made the wrong decision, held on to it for too long, and panicked as well. So, look, I think in terms of the rest of the group, I think Porto and Palmeiras are probably looking at that game and saying, okay, we should be able to roll over one of those, and they'll get through them. And
I think the opposite. I think Porto and Palmeiras are now thinking, holy crap, we didn't think Al Ahly was going to be that good.
We both called this so as well. We both said they're going to be dynamic. They're going to be fast. You did, yes.
This is one of the very first ones that I called, and I said Al Ahly is not to be taken lightly. They have played more Club World Cup matches than any other team in history. This was their 26th Club World Cup match. That's more than anybody else. This is their 11th time in the tournament. Holy mackerel. I mean, and they came out knowing what they needed to do. I was damned impressed. I think that, I am excited. If you can go see an Al Ahly game, get yourself a Pharaoh cap and wear some red and go and be a part of the party, man, because it's going to be awesome.
That was entertaining. The other one that jumped out at me as well, that entertaining, we saw the trademark Luis Suarez attempted bicycle kick towards the end. Did you see that as well? And again, it was attempted. He didn't pull it off, and it's like, not again. And it's like,
and they got a yellow card for it.
Well, he got a yellow card for it as well, and then
he got yellow card for
dissent. It was dissent
because he felt he was fouled, and the referee's like, "What are you talking about? The defender was right there. You tried to do a bicycle kick, and
What's interesting is he can't pull the same sort of Miami intimidation techniques that he probably does at the MLS because it's a different level. But he did his signature, as I say, not bicycle kick, signature bicycle kick attempt. Fucked it up as well.
Right. He tried to mount the bicycle and he fell down. Yeah. That's okay.
Suarez. As you know, my thoughts on Suarez. His legs have gone, and I think the game has left him, and he needs to move on. But anyway,
and listen, I thought the referee did a pretty good job. I really do think that there should have been a send off in the first half because, for a number of different reasons, Aviles got the first yellow. That was fine, but that second tackle was far worse than the first one and should have been a second yellow, regardless of whether he did it before. That was an absolutely cynical and dangerous, reckless challenge, and that should have been a sending off. Not to mention that Aviles also either broke a rib or dislocated the shoulder of Imam Ashur, who was, when he was off the ball, he absolutely and deliberately elbowed him and knocked him to the ground.
Yeah,
and that was, and I get it. It's part of the game, man. You gotta, as a defender, you gotta play those cynical marks. You gotta do that. Sometimes you gotta be the hard man, but he should have been punished a lot more than he was there. Because those were all three occasions were certainly yellow card worthy. And so in the grand sum, he should have at least had two. He didn't, fine. Water under the bridge, you let it go. It didn't determine the outcome of the game. 0-0 was a fair result.
It was a fair but entertaining result. But
very entertaining result.
Yeah, I have to say, yeah. So if the games continue on in this vein as well, I think we're in for an absolute cracker.
If we get games that are half as good as this, it'll be all right. Really.
Yeah, it will be really
and hopefully a lot more goals. But not to say that there weren't tries. Each side had something like 12 attempts on goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was shocking large amount of attempts and corners and saves and blocks. And listen, for the fans of the beautiful game, this is what it's all about. Sometimes it's not about the goal. Sometimes it's just about the attempts.
Absolutely. It really was. They really tried for it, and it was a wonderful game. So we've got off to a situation now where we have a very good start, and obviously then that takes us. I think we can wrap up there on that first inaugural game. As I say, pure entertainment. Let's obviously see now as we go in. Let's look forward into tomorrow as we go into Father's Day here. I was just realizing it's basically my family was saying, "What do you want to do for Father's Day?" And I was like, "Well, there's 4 FIFA Club World Cup games." On, so I'll be doing that. Plus, there's a couple of other sporting events going on as well. So it's basically going to be a full sports day here at the Striker household. That's for sure.
I mean, you get get the beer siphon, just keep pouring it in.
That's exactly keep Daddy happy. That's
me. I'm driving to Nashville. So I'm in the East Coast, and I'm driving to Nashville. So I'll be spending most of my day in a car.
Well, hopefully you get to stream it on your phone and watch some of the entertainment. So let's look into some of the games that are going.
Don't watch TV while I'm driving, Gary.
Well, that's good. Well, okay. Well, if you're driving,
I will listen to it, but I will not watch it.
Okay. So let's look into the games tomorrow. So the way it's going to go is we have the first game.
First question before you get into which of the 4 has the likelihood to be as exciting as this one?
I mean,
talk to me. I
think the game that I'm most excited about, to be perfectly honest, is Palmeiras against Porto. I think those two, the Brazilian against the Portuguese team, I think is going to be entertaining. That's going to be an interesting. Well, but there's so many picks as well. But then also, even looking at Botafogo Sounders, that's also going to be an entertaining game.
Well, I think I call that's the litmus test. Either of those teams don't have much of a chance. They've got to get, for their honor, they have to get the win.
And they'll get
I think both teams are coming out full engines revving.
Because if they can get points in that, if they get 3 points in that, exactly, because then the other game in that fixture, in that group, in Group B, is obviously PSG Atletico, which would be the marquee game. But again, like you think it's going to be entertaining.
You're overthinking now. You're overthinking it. I love it. No.
But then the other game, obviously, you've got Bayern against Auckland. And look, in my fantasy team, we've done this FIFA fantasy team. I put Harry Kane in my team and Olise purely for this game because they're just going to go and smash in 7 goals and can absolutely destroy them. And they're just going to get a lot of goals, right?
Here's my take on PSG Atletico. This is a knockout round game in the group stage.
Yeah.
And as such, it does have, on paper, this should be the most exciting match. I think in reality, both sides are going to be playing very cautiously.
Cautious, I agree. They're going to,
and I think
as I said,
it is not in the nature of any one of these teams to play that way, but I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that one, I think, so I'm surprised that you picked the Palmeiras Porto, but that would have been my pick of the most potentially exciting one, because now both of those teams recognize there's blood in the water with the other two teams having a point. The winner of this one takes the reins and is sitting in the pole position for the rest of the tournament.
And if you're Botafogo or Sounders, whoever wins that game, if there is a winner, assuming there's not a draw, all you need to do is just get one more point. And you're probably and you have a very high probability of qualifying and going through as well.
Absolutely
right?
Correct.
Yep. So I agree. So that will be an entertaining game, I think. Yeah, but as I say, I'm most excited about Palmeiras Porto. I think that one will be a real entertainer as well, because again, both of those teams have now seen Ahly and Miami, as you say, and they're both going to go for it and say, well, they've got the points. If we can get that win, that again, this is tournament soccer. Tournament football is a whole different game to league soccer and what we're used to as well. And this is where it gets entertaining.
It's a very different type of chess match. It's like
exactly. Go in, get your reps in early, get the points out on the board as quickly as you can, and then you're okay, and then you can rest players as well. So yeah.
What do you think? You want to put some scores down? You want to thrill the listeners by putting down some scores here?
So let's put them in sort of like chronology. So the first game of the day tomorrow is that
first game is Bayern
Auckland. I mean, I'm thinking 7-0. I'm going to say 7-0. I think it's going to be an absolute. They're just going to steamroll them. It's going to be 7-0.
Your disrespect of Auckland and the New Zealand people is so blatant, but no, I'm going 4-1. I actually think Auckland's going to score, and here's why: because Bayern is they're going to front load, right? They're going to front load the game. They're going to put all their stars on. They're going to rack up some goals, and then they're going to swap. They're going to do a full side swap.
Yeah, and just chill out.
When Auckland is gonna shock them. They're gonna snatch one back, and that, I mean, I'm certainly not picking them to win.
Yeah,
I ain't picking them to tie. But I am picking Auckland to at least get one goal.
Yeah. Okay.
That's me.
Okay. No, well, let's see how that shakes out. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement. Bayern are absolutely going to steamroll Auckland as well. They don't stand a real chance. It's not going to happen, right?
No.
Yep.
No.
Okay. And then the next game after that then is the PSG Atletico game. As you say, I agree with you. I think both Techi. I think it's going to be a 1-1. It's going to be, or maybe it'll be a 2-1. However, we did say this last time with PSG for the Champions League final against Inter, and we were going to say, it's going to be quite close, and PSG absolutely ran through into Milan. So are we going to see something similar?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I swear, it's not going to come down to the coach and the strategy. It's going to come down to whether or not these individual players just do some amazing shit.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to that, PSG has the balance in spades on their favor.
Yeah,
they have the more dynamic, more dangerous individual players that can grab this game or grab that ball and make something happen. I think PSG takes it 2-1. That's my call.
Wouldn't disagree with that.
I don't think it's going to be a great game, like we said, but I do think that PSG is going to walk away with the pip on this.
Yeah. You do have to say, look, that front three that PSG have of Kavicha, Dembele, and Doué. I mean, they are probably. I know Barcelona
are on my fantasy team, by the way. I've got Kavicha on my fantasy team.
I was just checking. I've got Kavicha and I've got Dembele, and interestingly, they're both recognized as midfilders as well in the FIFA World Cup, as well, in the FIFA fantasy thing. So strikers.
They do that oddly.
That's working to our advantage. And then the next game after that is the Palmeiras Porto. Now, the reason I'm excited for this game is I think both the Portuguese connection, obviously, sort of, Brazilian against a Portuguese team as well. However, as we know, Gary Striker is a big Chelsea fan, and Chelsea have signed this young wonder Brazilian kid, Estevão Willian, and so he will.
Here we go with the Chelsea.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how he performs and how he steps up, and if he does. He's been ripping up the Brazilian league, so let's see how he does against obviously a slightly little bit more tougher competition as well. But again, I think also I like Porto as well. I respect him to buy a Porto as well. They're a great club and play obviously having won the Champions League and qualified for this tournament, obviously as well. So I think that's going to be interesting. And again, this is what's for me is interesting about this dynamic, because you've never really had this sort of competition where you have a Brazilian team against a Portuguese team going against each other. And so we can really find out, where is the level? Where is the Brazilian level? Where is the Portuguese level? And who do they go against each other?
Well, that is a fair point.
We did see tonight, obviously, the Egyptian League and the African champions against the MLS decent team. Comparable. They're very comparable. Yeah,
very comparable.
So we'll see. Again, obviously going back to Bayern Auckland as well, that's not going to be not going to be interesting. And PSG Atletico, they've played each other many other times. And then, obviously, final game of the night, Botafogo against Sounders at Lumen Park. This one is going to be interesting. My sense tells me Botafogo probably comfortably win it 3-1.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah. I think,
but not for lack of trying on the Sounders side. The problem, the big problem, is that the Sounders are not the same team that they were back in 2023 when they won when they qualified.
And their form has been terrible this season.
No, they're just not. They're a shadow of themselves on that front, and so they didn't sign anybody new for the Club World Cup. They didn't make any changes. They have been somewhat bereft of ideas. They have moments where they can do amazing things, but over a 90-minute span, Botafogo should be able to take them, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they should, and I think that's I'm interested in that game purely from an analytical perspective. I've got no skin in that game. I don't care how the outcome matters at all.
Yeah.
And while I'm giving you some guff on the Chelsea things, you are correct, Estevao. To watch him play in the Palmeiras colors, this is your last chance you'll be able to do it. So enjoy it, and I think that he'll really want to make a big splash going out. So he'll be pulling out all the stops.
Absolutely. He'll want to do it, and of course, I've got him in my fantasy team as well, just because he was cheap, and I think he's going to score some goals. Yeah.
So you know who I have in my fantasy team that you probably don't have, because I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that it's Samuel Agahawa.
From Agahawa, I'm guessing Japanese. Is that okay? Oh, okay.
No, he's Spanish.
It's Agahawa. The way you enunciated it sounded Japanese.
Agahawa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I did definitely put a bit of a Japanese spin on that. No, he's Spanish.
Yeah.
And he just turned 21. He's an absolute monster. He's 6'4", right? And he's like a real old school traditional nine. Just stands around and waits for the ball.
Link up player.
Pounds it in.
The battering ram, is that what it is? Yeah.
Yes. And he's got a crap ton of goals for Porto. And, he was on my young players. Like, he is a potential, star in the making, in my opinion. So I'd be very excited to see what he does.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, so Qooligan, that's coming up on time, and look, I think that's
time.
Obviously, first of obviously sort of many of these sort of episodes that we'll be bringing to you, obviously, as we go through the experience. Obviously, you're on the East Coast. I'm on my way to Florida in the next couple of days as well, and obviously we'll be going to some games there as well. So it should be very exciting. We'll bring you all sorts of insights and access and all those wonderful things. So as usual, follow, like, subscribe, keep us going, share this as well. Obviously follow us on X as well. We'll be putting up links as well to that fantasy league as well. So if you are playing it as well, please come and join us and compete against us. And until then, Qooligan will be same time tomorrow as well after the final round of games. And then we'll be recapping 4 games that we saw.
Actually, we'll have to be doing it before the Botafogo game, because kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern time.
It kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Is that when it is? Oh my God, it does. Wow, that's getting late, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
We may not have a lot on Botafogo Sounders. We actually might have it live in the background.
Yes.
But we'll wait and see.
And to confirm, this is the only day that is doing 4 games in a day, and then we go back down to 3 games a day. And they just did the 4th game to account for the 1 game that they played today. And this
because of the kickoff, because of the 1-day kickoff for this.
Because the 1-day kickoff, and then it goes back. Wait, actually, hang on a second. Then on Tuesday,
there might be others. There are
Tuesday,
obviously
all the final
Wednesday, group games are going to be all 4 game days.
Yes, at the same time. No, actually,
at the same time.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. And then it goes into many 4 game days as well. So it's going to be fun. This is going to be so fun. This is wonderful.
Jam-packed.
Wonderful. Cool.
Stay with us.
Qooligan. Until tomorrow.
Peace.